Before we hop into this video, we have to say RIP to the great Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball. He is somebody that we all are representative of, a super nerd. Toriyama passed away, 68 years old. Give a moment of silence for the legend himself. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo. I remember watching all of his stuff on Toonami on Cartoon Network when I was a young kid. It was the first anime that I watched. I remember watching it after eating breakfast, drinking sweet tea, just being a little kid watching cartoons. I wouldn't be making these videos without the influence of him. Anime definitely lost a pioneer and a legend. Again, the creator of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, a cornerstone of my childhood. R.B. to the great one. Without him, I wouldn't be making these videos, and half of us wouldn't be watching anime and enjoying it as much as we do today. We lost a true legend. Let's get straight into it. With all these animations and all these cartoons following suit and everybody being a damn follower, we finally get part 2 of Invincible. So we're going to catch us up, talk about only 4 episodes, which was really disappointing, pretty damn boring, and hopefully we can move past all this shit and part 2 of Invincible can keep us on our toes, just as season 1 did. Here's a recap. Here's what you missed. Let's get it. So we hop into season 2, riding off the coattails of season 1. And, of course, they go left. We find out there is a supervillain. This big fathead was brought into the show after seeing 2 of my favorite characters in the Invincible universe. Those 2 characters being the Mauler twins. He is a humble man with a true gift of a superpower. He doesn't want to kill. Instead, he wants to fix issues of the past. And as we all know, especially in this, more often than not, something tragic will happen, and it did. He ends up killing people hand over fist. Generational deaths. He is essentially a part of a hive. He has different iterations of himself thanks to the multiverse, aka Marvel. Ant-Man, again, ruining stuff. But as we get to see the super genius take off, he creates that mind. So in every single multiverse, he lives out a full life. It's a pretty cool power. But once he gets with the Mauler twins and tries to link them all up to be a superhero, damn near a deity, it goes horribly wrong, and he ends up killing everybody. And it's so weird. This whole entire season 2 is so weird because literally after that catastrophe, we don't see him again. It's stupid, and I can't stand the way that they started off season 2 of Invincible. There are some twists and turns to his backstory. Invincible gets on the call, and he's to show up to stop the Mauler twins. And he's still learning his powers. He's still trying to prove himself after his dad. So once things go rogue, this big pinky in the brain head ass motherfucker sees Invincible as the enemy, even though he really isn't. And that's where we get his origin story. And just like in any classic anime, we have the horse that's been beaten to death, and they sure don't shy away from it in this. The constant struggle between Mark finding his identity and be compared to his father. He is a teen who recently just went to college, and after Omni-Man fallout, where he slaughters half of the universe, it seems like, Mark has this constant battle in his head. He also decides, does he want to be a superhero or a regular college student? The only person who's keeping Mark's head afloat is essentially his girlfriend. She's the only lifeline keeping him normal, but he continues to try to live that double life. This won't end well. He believes he has an obligation due to be blessed with this gift, or as I call it, a curse, especially with his dad being the most famous superhero who went rogue. At least we think. He wants to right his father's wrongs, not knowing that Omni-Man actually did Earth a favor. Even though he had to breed and repopulate as part of his objective, I really think that Omni-Man did the Earth a favor. It gets messy very fast, and Mark continues on a continuous cycle of this battle inside of his head. Now, just as his counterpart, Homelander in The Boys, we're not sure if Omni-Man is truly evil, if he just messed up in the head, or if he has a conundrum that he doesn't know how to settle out. Later on, as we will see in this review, Omni-Man really, he did it kind of light. He could have went straight Homelander in that one scene where he kills and blows up everything. But he intends to attack his target specifically, causing the least amount of damage. But wait, there's more. He continues his scholarly advices and tries to be a student. We then get some smutty hentai action in episode 3. Oh boy, Mark loses his big V card, and then across the board, it is just an old school anime filler. We take a trip at the origin story of our space character who has a pretty cool backstory, but legit, it comes out of nowhere. It's like the writer was like, We don't really want to follow the script. We don't want to forget this part of the comic. We also really don't have anywhere to go, so let's use this origin story to fill up one episode. Not gonna lie, that shit pissed me off. Pretty much all of part 1 pissed me off, but that episode in particular, because it had nothing to do with Omni-Man, had nothing to do with Invincible. It was just a filler and an origin story to old Space Boy. And to throw fuel on the fire, icing on the cake, we get to see old Debbie Grayson. This drunk, depressed mother is just drinking her sorrows away, and she's being useless in the whole entire series. I'm trying to tell you, part 1 really took a very hard hit. I'm hopeful that part 2 will turn it around. So that's pretty much where we're at. The only thing that we have to look forward to is episode 4. But before you do that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Over 150 subs. We're coming for 200 real fast. And to throw the final hunk and sinker, in episode 4, we finally get the action. We finally get the action that made me love this show. Mark is given a little bit more rope to run away with, and he ends up heading off to another planet. We have to remember that he wants to prove everyone right and show that he isn't his father, and he wants to do quote-unquote right. Well. We find out once he arrives to the secondary planet, he was tricked and lied to by one of the civilians. He is tricked, and he ends up running into good old dad, good old Omni-Man. He did his exact objective that he had to do on Earth. And guess what else Omni-Man did? He repopulated with another culture. We also get a glimpse of the real Viltrumites. And these boys, they're ready to get down. Episode 4 was very enlightening because we get to see, or at least the thought that Omni-Man, even though he's a true demon, was he really? It's still up in the air. We're a split decision. Was he a bad person? Did he accidentally fall in love with Debbie on Earth when he was just trying to do his objective? Did he really do the bare minimum by sacrificing the minimum amount of humans to cover and to prove his loyalty to the Viltrumites? Honestly, I'm not really sure, but there are definitely some questions that need answering. Seeing Omni-Man get put in cuffs, getting locked up, that was no good either. Seeing him broke down and as a prisoner. And then, for the icing on the cake, the worst part, the Viltrumites being the savages that they are, they walk up to Mark. They say, listen here, Invincible, since your dad's getting locked up as a traitor, now you're in his position. Now you're Earth's keeper. And that puts Mark in a hell of a place. We know now how the Viltrumites get down. They don't play around. So, all this pressure is on Mark's shoulders. And they said, if you do not fulfill the Viltrumite legacy and conquer Earth the way we intended to, we're going to come through and we're going to kill them all. So now that we're all caught up, they better do something good in part 2 because part 1 was not good. I hate that they're following suit of all the other animes. I hate that it started off so slow. I hate there was only 4 episodes. The 4th episode was good and it got me excited. But Invincible, the people over there at Prime, y'all are better than that. Y'all are better than that. So we're looking forward to it. 3/14, part 2 comes out. We're going to be doing week-to-week updates as usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time, holla back at your boy.
Artlist.io